Hello, my name is Alec Albright, and I will be doing my oral presentation on the Nick on 5th project, which was built in downtown Minneapolis and finished at the end of the year 2014. It was built under LEED V3, and my current employer, Opus Group, was the head of the project. For those of you who do not know, LEED is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. It is put together by the US GBC, or United States Green Building Council, and LEED aims to make building design and construction more sustainable, environmentally friendly, while ultimately saving property owners money over time. Quick project overview. Like I stated, Opus developed the land, did the design behind the project, and built the project. And its duration was just shy of 2 years, so about 23 months is how long it took for the building of the Nick on 5th. The project cost came to $90 million, and that built 26 stories with 253 luxury units, which came just over 400,000 total square feet. Here's a shot of the high-rise from afar, where you can see the entirety of the building. It's aesthetically pleasing. It has curtain wall, window wall, and precast, which makes up a large majority of the facade. Here's a view of the pool deck and green roof system that was built. This helped achieve and helped Opus receive a lot of LEED credits, which I'll get into later, but this is a space that occupants can feel like they're outdoors without leaving their place. And since being constructed and since the Nick on 5th being leased out a year and a half ago, it's proved to be enjoyed heavily by tenants. And here's a shot from one of the balconies facing west. This details how small of a site the project was. It butts up against high rises in all directions, so staging was tough, and implementing a effective LEED project proved highly costly and also difficult, but through the design build process and an effective project management team and group of architects at Opus, I believe, pulled it off relatively well. Project certification, attained LEED Silver with 58 credits. 29 of those came from the construction and 27 from the design. Now, anyone doing that quick math will notice that does not add up to the 58 credits that we received, and that is because of exemplary performance or regional priority, which gave us some sort of double counting credits, which I'll get into later. This project was also historic in a way because it was the first luxury high-rise apartment or multifamily high-rise in downtown Minneapolis to receive LEED Silver certification. Quick overview of the credits. I'll get into these in more detail as we go, but I just want to provide a high-level overview of where Opus received a majority of its credits, and that's in sustainable sites. Opus did not have to do a whole lot to receive all these credits, just simply because it was a downtown site connecting to many forms of public transportation, and I'll get into more detail here as we go. We didn't do so well in energy and atmosphere, but overall we got 58 of the 110 possible points under LEED version 3 scorecard. Going into more detail on sustainable sites, 24 of the 26 potential points were earned, and those came from, for starters, credit 1 with site selection. By building a site in downtown, we contributed to an already dense community, so we received that credit. We received credit for connecting to multiple forms of public transportation, for not increasing the runoff coefficient of our water. The site was previously concrete, so by building on concrete, we are not taking away from Earth's and the environment's ability to retain rainwater any more than it previously could have. Those are where we pulled some points from in those credits. Getting down to 4.1 through 4.3, alternative transportation, we met all possible credit points in this credit because, again, the site was built directly in downtown, connecting to many forms of public transportation like bus lines and light rail. And there's a picture coming up that actually shows the light rail running directly through the lobby of the Nick on 5th. So tenants can just get up in the morning, head straight out, and in theory don't have to have a car. We provided bicycle storage and changing rooms for all employees of the building, so anyone who works in the building for the occupants can bike to work still and change and shower and store their bikes and then bike home after work. And then we provided a list of low-emitting, fuel-efficient vehicles where it was an incentive for tenants to drive a hybrid type vehicle per se, and they would get a lower parking rate per month and closer parking. Credit 5.2, maximizing open space. 40% of the building footprint was open space, and that was in large part due to the 6th floor roof deck that occupants could enjoy. Continuing with sustainable sites, we have stormwater design. Basically, we didn't have to do a whole lot to earn this credit because we were forced to tie into the city of Minneapolis's percolating system, which stores all the water and then slowly releases it into the sewers. Credit 7.1 through 7.2, by having light colored pavers on our roofs, we reduced the heat island effect that black tar or asphalt would produce per se, and by having underground parking, we also got the non-roof heat island effect credit. Credit 8, we did not pursue due to safety reasons. It's light pollution reduction, and we felt that even in the wee hours of the night, for a marketing initiative and for safety, we wanted a well-lit structure. That is why we did not receive points in Credit 8. Here's a picture detailing Sustainable Sites Credit 4.1. The light rail runs right through the building's lobby, which is almost unheard of, and the Minneapolis's light rail system is ranked #1 in the country, so again, just helped us achieve some points in this category. The star indicates where the project was. Heart of downtown, right on Nicollet Ave, very big retail district and street in Minneapolis, which brings a lot of people to hopefully not only see our final product, but also hear and see about the LEED initiative going forward. Water efficiency, Opus received 4 out of 10 points. In Credit 1, for water efficient landscaping, we used drought tolerant plants that required less water for irrigation, which really helped us save on water costs and what the property manager would have to use to water those plants going down the road here in a Minnesota climate. Credit 3, water use reduction. 34% reduction in water was achieved, which gave 2 points. And then we received an innovation and design credit for exemplary performance in our potable water reduction of 45%. Our labs or sinks only used 1 gallon per minute, our showers 1.5 gallons per minute, and then our toilets 1.28 gallons per flush. All of these are below market average, and over time will help save the owner and save the environment a lot of money and lifespan. Energy and atmosphere, this is where Opus did not perform too well in. Credit 1, we did receive some points in optimizing our energy performance with a green roof, part of which was intensive, meaning deep soils, able to hold trees, and then part of it was just shrubs and flowers, which was the extensive side of it. Heat pump system was used as well, and then advanced glazing technology. This was interesting because the glass was capable of capturing sunlight and then spreading that heat throughout the building, and vice versa when it's cold out. And that was really efficient in heating the building and saving energy over time. But other than that, we really just used an Energy Star portfolio manager to get some points under Credit 5. And yeah, that was pretty much it for our EA credits. Opus did not choose to pursue a lot of them strictly because we knew we could get a lot of credits in sustainable sites and regional material. So due to a cost premium, we avoided some of the credits in that category. Here's the green roof, which this picture shows not only which credits this helped us get points for, but also shows kind of some of that extensive, intensive type of roof where you can see behind the cabanas in the background the trees. That requires up to 22-inch soil. Some of these shrubs and flowers in the foreground do not require as much soil. In material and resources, 4 of the 14 credits 4 of the 14 points were achieved. In Credit 2, construction waste management, we used atomic recycling to actually take all of our trash and recyclables off-site in one dumpster and do the sorting for us. We did not necessarily have confidence in all of our laborers to do all the recycling day in and day out on the job, and also did not have the space on site to have multiple dumpsters for recycling and trash. Credit 4, we received points for recycled content. And then in Credit 5, regional materials, this was mostly your gypboard, steel studs, concrete, window glass, and we made sure that every subcontractor that bid the work for their scope included a regional within 500 miles manufacturer for us to at least entertain the option of choosing. Here's a diagram that I won't get into too much detail about how Atomic took all the trash and recycled material off-site onto their site and dispersed it and separated it and helped us get 79% recycled content. Indoor environmental quality, 10 of 15 points were earned here. Under credit 2, we increased the ventilation by switching to MERV 13 filters from MERV 8. MERV is essentially a measurement of how many particles get trapped by the filter, thence making air quality a lot better. Credit 3.1 was achieved by having an indoor air quality management plan. Our whole team was brought on board with how we wanted to keep the air quality at a maximum for occupants, eliminate dust, etc., and that was effectively implemented. Credits 4.1 through 4.3, low emitting materials. This is not such a hard credit to attain nowadays. Back when, let's say, I was born, it would be more difficult to attain this credit because less products had low VOC material, which is volatile organic compounds. And nowadays, like Sherwin-Williams or any paint manufacturer, all their paints will it'll be almost standard to have low VOC content. And that made getting this credit not too hard. Continuing on with indoor environmental quality, credit 6.1, controllability of systems. Occupants had controllability of the lights, even in multi-use spaces like conference rooms or out on the pool deck or in the lobby. There were switches everywhere, and that could keep tenants happy and also keep the lights off at times. Credit 7.1 through 7.2, we got points for design and verification of the thermal comfort, and also surveyed our occupants 6 months after living there and made sure that at least 80% of occupants were pleased with the environmental quality. That helped us get points in credit 7.2. Credit 8.2, it's a high-rise in downtown. You're going to get great views, which is shown on this next picture. It was not hard to get these points either. Going into innovation of design, we got 5 out of 6 points in this, largely due to our project team. Many of them were lead AP professionals, lead accredited professionals, and that helped not only in the design part, but also the management. And from the get-go, we really had a well-rounded team that took initiative to not just follow a rubric on how to get lead points, but think out of the box and find out ways to maybe get more points in other areas, such as low mercury lighting programs or sustainable light purchasing plans. We actually kept all our parking underground, not that we had much of a choice, but that was talked about. And then we used an aerator to slow the flow of water from the sinks and actually get it down to 1.0 gallons per minute, which was just something that our project manager thought of, Luke Elbers, and he told me this when I interviewed him last week. Regional priority, these credits double count, so this pulls from credits in other areas that helped out the environment regionally within 500 miles, and we received double count in MR credit 2 and sustainable sites credit 6.1, 6.2. And just as a note, you can't achieve more than 4 points in regional priority, even though there are a possibility for 6 to be selected. Some fun facts on the job: the lead binder ended up being 403 pages upon review when we turned it over to the US GBC. That's just insane how large these manuals can get and how time intensive it is, but it's a price you pay to have a building that really helps the environment and the tenant in the long run. Opus did not have a single submitted credit or get rejected, so all 58 that we brought to the table, we got all those. And that's really unheard of. If we would have known that would have happened, we would have probably developed a plan to get 2 more and get gold. But we did not foresee receiving all 58 points, but we were really happy that we did. And then we had a back pocket innovation and design credit, which we didn't end up using because we didn't need to, but it was to put a lead education board in the Skyway system right out of the lobby of the Nick on 5th so that people shopping at Nicollet Mall could just come and educate themselves on what LEED actually is. Some lessons that we learned was being a design build firm really helps the LEED initiative. From day one, you can get everyone on board and start planning for LEED instead of just getting a project from some architect and right away just have to develop all your construction methods for LEED without that intercompany communication. We missed out on a point by not communicating to our landscapers that we wanted to restore native vegetation, so that was a bummer and definitely a lesson learned. We should have had a plan to have a few more credits just in case, like I said earlier, we did get all 58 of our points. It would have been nice to get gold certification. And we realized that even though all of our external facade was pretty much windows, we still couldn't possibly achieve 75% naturally lit space, just because the nature of the building has so many interior rooms, being high-rise luxury multifamily apartment style rooms that can't be naturally lit. So that was a very tough one, but a lesson learned that it's not really feasible to get that in this type of building. Here's my work cited. Since I worked for Opus, a lot of this was internal information, interviews I conducted with my coworkers, and information I already knew, but the rest of the links where I pulled some information from are shown here. Here's my image sources, and with that, I will take any questions you guys have, and I appreciate all of your attentive listening. Thank you.